Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. My name is Anthony and today we are testing out the Toyota Corolla Touring Sports, or Sports Touring, I can't remember. Basically it's a more fancy way of saying the Toyota Corolla Estate. So how do you feel about the looks? I think the Corolla has come on leaps and bounds in recent years, and this newest generation is particularly good looking. It's got a kind of elegant style to it. It's subtle but good looking. Now estates have basically fallen out of favour with everyone. Everyone wants an SUV instead, but we're going to have a look around the Corolla Touring Sport and see some of the merits of an estate. So I suppose the most important aspect of any estate is the boot, and the Corolla has a good one. With the back seats up, you have basically 600 litres of space. You have a nice flat floor to make loading stuff easier, and underneath that floor, where you used to see a spare tyre, there's just a load of space and some more storage. Two other handy little tricks are the privacy curtain here, and if you have dogs, there is a little divider net hidden in the seat that you can pull up to let your dog still see you but still keep them in the boot, so very handy. If you want to drop the back seats, there's just the pull of two levers, one on either side, and that automatically drops the back seats and you get 1600 litres of space. Good boot. Obviously the back seat is very important too, and I'm pretty happy back here. Headroom is good, although if you were a bit taller than me, I think you would be brushing the roof ever so slightly. I'm 6 foot and I'm sitting behind myself in my driving position. I have a good bit of knee room, legs are nice and comfortable. There's not a massive hump in the middle either, which is also nice. We have our armrest with two cup holders. I must say I do like the white accents. That does lift what could be a dark interior because we have the privacy glass too, and if all of this was dark it might feel a tad claustrophobic, so yeah, do like that. On the downsides I don't see any USB ports here, so that might upset some children, but you can lock them in their seats with two Isofix either side. Let's go look in the front. Now the Corolla estate starts at about €27,000 and goes all the way to €36,000 for the Trek model. We are in the mid-level Sol model, which comes in at around €32,000. Some of the extras on the Sol model include things like heated seats up here in the front, privacy glass in the back, you have sat nav and smart entry key, and those 17-inch alloys that do actually make it look a bit better. I think on the entry level it has 16s and they just get a bit lost. It needs the 17s to kind of complete the look. These seats are very comfortable and I do like the fabric, and with the heated it just makes them even more comfortable, especially now in December in Ireland. Heated fabric seats, perfect. They look good too. I do like the white accents again, much like the back, it just lifts it a bit. And this central dash bit covered in white leather really lifts the interior, and it has drawn the attention of quite a few people that have sat in and had a look. It gives it a bit more of an upmarket feel. It's quite similar to the stuff from Mazda. A lot better than Corollas I remember from 10 or 15 years ago. This is a jump in class. The heated seat buttons are these big chunky kettle-like switches that are great. Steering wheel is a nice size and it looks okay, like there's not a huge amount of design flourishes on the buttons or anything like that you might get on other stuff, but hey, it's a steering wheel, it does its job, and it's covered in nice leather and it's stitched and it's good size. It's the right size. Up here we have an 8-inch touchscreen with all your infotainment and sat nav and audio and radio and phone and all that stuff. Feels quite nice, and I do like the action on the volume switches. It's very satisfying and feels really well built, unsurprisingly maybe. The infotainment does lose out on visuals a bit. It's not quite as crisp and as up to date as some of the other stuff around, but it's fine, it works well and it does its job. It's just not as visually pleasing as some of them. It functions well and it's very intuitive, and you do work out how to do things very quickly, but yeah, like I said, visually down a league or two. On this particular one I didn't seem to have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but you do get this kind of weird mirror link thing where it will display your phone screen in the middle but it stays in portrait mode. It looks a bit odd and I don't really see the point in using it. Bluetooth works fine and it connects very well and very quickly every time you sit in. Some cars are a bit fiddly when it comes to that. This thing, very impressive. Practicality is well covered too. You have 2 cup holders here in the center. You have a big one here in the door. That's not big enough for this though, but it's okay. It'd probably fit other stuff. Visually, the rest is very impressive. You have a nice little metallic looking strip here that runs across and just underneath the air vent with a nice little design that runs right across to the other side. White, as I said, looks good. Gear stick, could look a bit better. Don't know what that does. Yeah, it's a big improvement on previous Corollas that I've sat in. Heated seats are on, air conditioning is off, Taylor Swift on the radio. Let's go driving. So when I first sat in the Corolla, the thing that struck me straight away was just how comfortable it is. It did surprise me the level of refinement and comfort. It really is set up to ride softly and deal with most bumps in the road very well and just glides over them. So when I pick up these cars, I immediately do a 90-kilometer motorway journey, and that's where this thing was very impressive and very calm and relaxing. Only that kind of hint of wind noise that might give away the fact that it's, you know, not a fully premium product, but it certainly feels very premium in here. It's got a lovely relaxing nature to it, and it calms you down very quickly. I was on an 80-kilometer-an-hour road earlier today. The car in front of me was doing 50 the whole way, and it took me a while to notice it. And I think it's just the nature of the Corolla. It's very relaxing, and it relaxed me, and I wasn't upset by this person in front driving far too slow for that road. Obviously, I'm joining him by doing that, but it didn't upset me, and that's quite a nice feature in the car, just to calm you down. Relax, chill, it'll be alright, we'll get there. As it stands today, there are 2 options in the Corolla engine lineup. You have a 1.8 hybrid or a 2-litre hybrid, and both are petrol. Today we are in the 1.8 hybrid, and that has 122 brake horsepower, 142 newton meters of torque, and will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a leisurely 11.1 seconds. So not hybrid setup for performance, that's for sure. If you would like a bit more performance from your Corolla hybrid, you can get the 2-litre, and that has 180 brake horsepower, and I think it does 0 to 100 kilometers in about 8 seconds. So fair bit of a jump, and 3 seconds is nothing to be sniffed at. Whether most Corolla drivers will be that fussed by getting the bit of extra power, I'm not so sure, and maybe this 1.8 will do the job sufficiently for most people. So there's no plug-ins, there's none of that. The engine and battery and electric motor all work without your interference. Now I know it's called self-charging hybrid, and there's a bit of debate around that naming, because obviously the battery does not charge itself. You have to burn petrol and move the car for the battery to be charged up again. So technically it's not self-charging, but anyway, that's just semantics maybe. Choice of gearbox is straightforward too, with only the one, a CVT automatic. CVT gearboxes do get a bad rap, and I can see why. They're just a bit different and a bit odd, and they do really weird things that, if you've never used one, is just a bit jarring. So like when you go for hard acceleration, it like kicks off with these revs and a lot of noise, but it doesn't exactly translate to what's happening at the tires, and the car doesn't seem to go any faster. It just gets louder and just kind of gives out. It's not a whiny gearbox like some of the older stuff. It is a lot more quiet and a lot more refined. But if you do drive in a manner that suits the CVT gearbox and keep it a bit relaxed, keep it a bit calm in a Corolla-ish fashion, it's okay. It kind of works away in the background and does its thing. It's just when you really want to push it on a bit, it's got a weird nature. It gives out, it doesn't like it, and it's not suited to kind of performance, really. Move off. See, those revs do not reflect what is happening here at all. It's like, but it's not going anywhere. It's like a bowel toddler giving out, but just isn't strong enough to do anything about it. The engine and battery and motors will work away in the background without your intervention too much, but you do have the option to click EV mode, and obviously that swaps it into electric only mode. That seems to only work between maybe 0 and 40 or 50 kilometers an hour, and then the engine will kick back in. But it's quite handy around town or early in the morning, late at night. Just keeps it nice and silent, and you get that kind of EV kick as well. So I've prompted it into EV mode now, and we're driving on electric power alone in silence. There's 20, 30, staying in EV mode, just moving along quietly at 40 kilometers an hour, 50, still in EV mode. So yeah, around town you can actually just, there we go. So it runs out of juice pretty quick, and now the engine is kicked back in. But yeah, it allows you to control it at least a bit. You have the option of 3 driving modes as well. So you have normal, sport, and eco. I found myself staying in normal most of the time. The other 2 aren't much use, to be honest. Sport mode, it gets a bit livelier, but nothing to write home about, and it just seems a bit more noisy rather than actually giving you any more performance. Eco mode just stunts performance too much in a car that's already pretty slow. I think that is maybe the downside of it. It could do with just a hint more power and urgency at times, and that's where maybe the 2 litre will be a bit nicer, I'm guessing. But it's definitely set up for fuel economy, and there's not a huge amount to kick off it. Obviously hybrids, fuel economy, that's the whole thing we're being sold now. And then the quoted WLTP figure is 5 litres per 100 kilometers, whereas I've been getting 5.6, 5.7. So not bad, pretty close. And I think if you do more of the EV suited driving, you could increase that even more. Steering on the Corolla is very light, and it is basically numb of any real feeling or feedback. So it doesn't lend itself to any kind of sportier driving. And do you know what? I didn't mind it that much because of the overall nature of the car, and that drivetrain and gearbox are very relaxed. So you're never that pushed about driving on too hard. So the numb and light steering, didn't mind it that much. Grand. It gives you a nice feeling, which I didn't think I'd get. It kind of has a zen vibe off it, which I wasn't expecting. I'll be honest, I was expecting to not like this. I don't know, it's like built into you if you're into cars that you shouldn't like a hybrid Corolla, but this is nice. Some people could do with driving these and just calm down a bit, lads. Just relax on the roads. It's not that big a deal. Settle down. That's what this does. Maybe I'm getting old. That's probably it. I'm just getting old. Well, that's our Corolla Hybrid Estate Sports Touring review. If you'd like to search Cars Ireland for a Corolla, please do click on the link above. Please do give us a like if you liked what you see. Give us a comment on what you think of the Corolla, and we'll see you again next week. Bye bye.